Okay, my grasshoppers, this next videotape analysis, I'm going to be discussing the slot, S-L-O-T. If you want to hit the ball with great authority and control, you have to master this move. Regardless of the backswing that you may have, the grip that you may have, getting your racket into the slot is crucial to executing pretty much an effortless forehand or any type of controlled forehand. I stole the terminology really from the golf industry. They always talk about getting the golf club into the slot right prior to contact. And to me, in tennis, it relates to getting your hand and racket in a swing path, the proper swing path, which I call the slot. And you will see I'm going to demonstrate the next probably 17 pros. Even though they all look differently, they all get their racket into the same position, into the same swing path, and right before making contact. So let me start the tape here with Roger Federer. I always start with the top two players in the world right there. And regardless of the backswing, now we talked about the first move earlier. Now watch, this is the slot right there. I'm going to stop. I've queued up all the videos to stop right when the racket is in the slot right there. And what I mean by the slot is that angle right there that you can see with Rafa right there and with Roger right there. Pretty much where the wrist is laid back, completely laid back, and the butt cap of the racket pretty much just about pointing at the ball right there. Boom, this way and right here, right prior to making contact. So I'm going to go down the road pretty much and start covering every single pro one at a time right there. I'm going to show you, this is Andy Roddick, one of the biggest forehands right there. That we may have different angles, but I stopped it every single time pretty much right when the racket is going to be in the slot right there. Wrist laid back, and once again, the butt cap of the racket pointing at the ball right there. Okay, so let's go to our next model right there. This is a view from the front of Marat Safin. Same thing, you see the butt cap pointing at the ball, the wrist laid back, the racket face closed, although the racket face does not really have to be closed right there, but there is the slot right there. And let me give you a couple more before I start talking about the slot, again, what it does and how it helps you hit a better forehand right there. This is Monfils, and then we got to Hewitt right there. See, they all have different pretty much strokes, but what do they all do in common is right before making contact with the ball, the wrist is laid back. You see Hunchikova, the face of her racket is not as parallel to the ground as it is as the others, but the common thread right here once again is going to be the butt cap pretty much pointing at the ball, and what else right there, that angle or the wrist laid back just prior to making contact. This is one of the biggest forehands in the world right there. This is on my home club last Friday, and watch how the racket right there, I'm going to stop the tape again, right there, butt cap pointing at the ball, wrist laid back. And obviously getting the racket into the slot is a little easier. This is Marty Fish. James and Marty were playing against each other. Right there, same spot again. Boom, there is the slot right there. This is David Nalbandian from the back right there. You can get a good feel for it. Juan Martín del Potro, when I was in London about 3 weeks ago right there, laying the wrist back as well. And right here, Mr. Djokovic right there. Now, the reason why this is so important to get your racket right there, because this is how your hand really will be when you make contact with the ball. Your wrist will be laid back. The palm of the hand will be right behind the racket right there. So regardless what kind of backswing you have, what kind of grip you have, obviously it is a lot easier to get into the slot if you have a semi-western grip. But let's finish up with Tsonga right here, or western grip to get in the slot. But you must learn to lay your wrist back to get your racket right there, and in the slot right there. You have to get your hand, regardless of the type of backswing you may have, the type of follow-through, grip, it doesn't matter. You must get your racket into that position right before making contact, because this is how you're going to make contact with the ball. And I don't want to talk about the point of contact and try to dissect, like my last video was about the first move. Now I'm moving on to the slot. But the next video in tap analysis will be about the double bend position and the point of contact. And those are the common fundamentals, because between if you look at, let's pick at the two best forehands right now. Look at the backswing, very different than Roger's backswing. And I can go, I'm not going to put you through all the different backswing, but we're just going to choose 4 backswings right. You see, this is a completely different backswing than Nadal has. But where do they both, remember the first move, they both started the same way. Now from here, everything can look a little different. But bam, right there, right before contact, we're back to all looking the same. And then we'll go with, might as well pick the 3rd player in the world right there. And then we'll put the number 4 player in the world right there. So I can show the top 4 guys, even though they're all different. See here, everything looks the same. Both hands on the racket again. Different backswing, but bam, there goes the racket. Gets into that slot right there with the wrist laid back and the butt cap pointing at the ball. So that is this lesson. I know I've been accused of rambling on a little bit, so I'm going to keep it short. We talked about the first move in another video analysis. Now we're talking about the slot. You must get your racket right there, and we'll follow up with a video about the point of contact with the double bend position. So if you have any questions about how you get your racket in the slot, it's really, it's really not that difficult. You can email me, but pretty much you need to lay your wrist back, keep your elbow kind of bent in right there, and attack the ball just like this. Your racket needs to be at this position in relationship with your arm and the butt cap pointing at the ball right before making contact. And you will definitely be able to hit the ball with great authority and control. Hope you enjoyed the video analysis. You can once again check out my website at www.tennisoxygen.com or email me through my YouTube account. Hope you enjoyed it.